Today is May 22nd. Welcome on in to Daily Cards Live here on ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey, and we're brought to you each and every day by Royal Banks of Missouri and Mungenast St. Louis Acura. Rammer Cardinals yesterday finish off their three-game set in Detroit, losing by a score of 4-1, and outside of a tiny little offensive outburst in game two, kind of starting off the month of May the same way they left April, 2 runs in game one game in game three. And
I missed the end of your question.
I just say it's a struggle to watch this offense right now.
Yeah, it's the obvious statement is that there's a real problem here, and quite frankly, it starts with the veterans.
Yeah.
The veterans aren't holding up their end of the bargain. That happens sometimes. Kids and second year and even third year players, you don't always know what you're going to get. There are ups and downs, but when you put a team of veterans out there, in particular that are the middle three of your batting order, and they're not producing, this is a huge struggle. And my guy Brendan Donovan, in the last couple of weeks, has cooled way off. He's my guy. He's my favorite player on the team, but I think he's at a point where he's a veteran now. And so now you're talking nearly half of your lineup is not producing. Your pitching has been better than expected. I think that's reasonable. The bullpen way better than expected. The rotation has been maybe about as expected, slightly better perhaps. But the offense has really struggled. So the question for the Cardinals is, do we change our offensive philosophy? Do we try and become the Dodgers of the 1960s and move runners over all the time? I was talking about it earlier. The Dodgers, when they were winning in the 60s, had a first baseman named Wes Parker. He won 4, 5, 6 Gold Gloves in a row. Really nice player. Drew some walks, but he really couldn't hit much. He had, I think it was 1970, he had a career year and 110 RBIs. But other than that, he led the league in sacrifices one time. I don't think any of us, me included, is suggesting that Paul Goldschmidt is there. But if you're not performing, you've got to find, hey, I'm not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I'm not getting around on inside fastballs. I've got runners at first and second, nobody out. Can I hit a home run? What's my chances of success there? What are my chances of moving the runners over? They got to start looking at those kind of things.
Goldschmidt has slowly climbed his average back up to 230. If you remember, it was under 200 about a week or so ago when he was answering questions about his lack of productivity, but just up and down the lineup. Nolan Gorman, just you wait and you wait for a guy like him to break out. And, like last year led the team in home runs. I fully expected him to be a 35, 40 home run guy this year, and hitting 190 right now. It's one of those where you have to look at it and say, okay, at what point do we sit him a couple games, not just one, not just give him a night off, but look at maybe a series, a weekend, and just say, you're going to come off the bench for this one. You might bat late in the game, but this, we need to fix some things.
If he and Goldie, they've got to hit minimum to be successful on the power side. They got to hit a home run a week.
Yeah.
Now, we all know when you're hot, and you're cold, that's not going to balance out to once a week. But that's the pace. That's the rate. And if we're going to say, doesn't look like that's going to happen, well, your players are the players you have. So it's not fantasy ball where you can just go change them out. So then if they're not going to hit home runs and doubles and drive in runs, what can we do with this group to maximize the production we're getting? And that's where I think very shortly the Cardinals and the advanced metrics department and Ollie are going to have to figure out.
They are, you look at to the first month of the season, they are right there with the White Sox, Marlins, and Athletics. Three of the worst teams in baseball when it comes to offensive futility. Third in OPS, White Sox with a 603 OPS, Marlins 610, Cardinals with a 638, and Athletics with a 639. So this could be a long weekend in St. Louis with the White Sox coming to town tomorrow, to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Pitching wise, it's right there, middle of the pack. They are right there. It's a nice average of the league, right around 15 or so. And when you look at it, there's some days where they look really, really good. Take game one, for example, of that doubleheader with Kyle Gibson on the mound. Then you hand things off to the bullpen. And when a game goes as planned, pitching wise, the Cardinals look to be unbeatable, except when they can't score runs. But then they have ugly games where they give up 11 runs, and that kind of keeps them in the middle and kind of keeps them away from being able to break out and be one of those top tier teams when it comes to pitching. But when you look at it, you could easily see this being a team that is right there in the running at being a top of at least contending in the National League Central. If they could just hit a little bit more, my goodness.
Got to find a way to score runs. You mentioned the pitching in the middle of the pack. When I made my Dodgers comp from the 60s, we do have to keep in mind that the Dodgers had Koufax and Drysdale.
Yeah.
So there are some differences.
That was a decent one too.
Yeah.
Gave your team a chance to win some most nights.
By scoring 1 run, you got a shot. So I want to full disclosure.
I don't think any of the five on the Cardinals rotation are in the same sentence right now as Drysdale or Koufax. One guy that is going to be at least in the news when the Cardinals start their series this weekend is Steven Matz. Headed back to St. Louis, got an MRI on the back. Knew that he was hurt pitching in game one. The comments afterwards from Ollie saying, we knew it hurt. He said he could pitch. We needed him to go out there and get innings for us because we knew we had at least 18 to pitch through on that given day. And I kind of said yesterday, is it a case of, is it a bad back like Mason Wynn, who can play 5 out of 6 games, or is it a bad back that's going to land you on the injured list? I guess we'll find that out when the MRI comes out.
When did that start?
The bad back?
About a week back. Anyway, I think the real question is who's taking his start on Tuesday. If he had to go get an MRI, it's hard to. You've had a bad back. Just every American has had a bad back at some time. It's hard to imagine you exerted yourself. You're hurting bad enough that you have to go get an MRI. Can you imagine getting well fast enough to give a competent major league start on Tuesday?
Yeah.
That's a tough sell on me. So maybe just say, hey, look, get on the IL, get your back in shape. And then, but in the meantime, who's going to take that spot? Do you have to mess with your 40-man and go with Robersa? Or do you give Libator another look? I think that's where the Cardinals are, and I don't know what their decision would be.
Right now, it is the open day on the Cardinals schedule. It's Sunday for their rotation. Tomorrow night, and we'll talk about this more. Tomorrow night, it's Sonny Gray. Saturday, it's Lance Lynn. Sunday is the open day right now. The Cardinals have not listed a starter for Sunday. It's Miles Michaelis listed on Monday, and Kyle Gibson listed for Tuesday.
I wonder why I guess they could get them right on there. I said Tuesday because that's when Matz was due up again.
Yeah.
So they must have manipulated it to get guys on regular rest and move them up.
With that being Sunday, I guess I haven't seen game logs right now of when Zach Thompson has last pitched for down in Memphis, because he'd be due to be able to come back up. And
he's on the 40-man, so that helps some things there, but does it help you win?
But and that's the thing. Is you're okay, who else in the Cardinal organization are you pitching if that's your mindset?
Well, I mentioned Roberta, who's done pretty well, but I don't think he's on the 40-man. So that creates maybe more problems than you need to, and what might be a short-term issue.
Right. So I would think that Zach Thompson, even if Zach Thompson pitched yesterday, even if he pitched Wednesday, which I don't have any of the numbers in front of me, you would think that he'd be okay to spot start for you on Sunday. And you, as you mentioned, you also have Libator, who you can work into that position there as well. And Palante, I guess, is another guy that's down in AAA where I'm just saying they are guys based on usage and based on where they are with rest. It's a name that you can bring up and say, hey, get us through 3.
Well, you probably got. Well, I have no comment.
No, there's no answer.
That's to me. Well, let's see if a guy can get us through 3. You got no chance.
Right. One guy to watch. I don't know if you have followed any of his stats so far down in AAA this year. Tink Hence is off to an outstanding start with the Cardinals, as he's in Springfield, Double-A, Texas this year. 3-0, 25 2/3 innings pitched, with a 2.10 ERA. So Tink Hence, at the age of 21, is really. I'm not saying this to suggest him to start on Sunday. Let me preface this. We were talking minor league pitchers. I'm saying that a month into the season, Tink Hence has really opened some eyes down in Double-A.
Yeah, I think and don't quote me on this. I'd have to go back. I don't have the game log in front of me. I'm thinking that he had maybe like one so-so outing, but everything else has been pretty darn good. And,
at April 24th, 3 1/3 innings pitched, Rammer, he allowed 4 hits in that game and 2 walks. That was his worst outing so far. Everything else, he had gone at least 5 innings, and his last time out on April 30th, 7 innings pitched with 10 strikeouts in the game against Tulsa.
Yeah, very nice.
So
there are guys theoretically in the pipeline, but it doesn't help you for Sunday.
No, it doesn't. So it's something just to kind of watch, keep an eye on, knowing that Steven Matz probably isn't going to be making that start on Sunday. Somebody else is going to have to, and maybe by the time we do this show tomorrow, Friday after an off day, a Friday back in St. Louis seems like a good day for Mo to maybe talk to the media ahead of the game and kind of give some updates as to where everybody is health-wise within the organization. So maybe have some more notes on that.
And keep an eye on, you say, well, who do we look for with the White Sox? There aren't many, but one that just got started with him, a late start because of his contract, is Tommy Pham, hitting .375.
Hitting second in the order, and I know there are White Sox media members, Rammer, who are scratching their head at the fact that Tommy Pham is batting second in that order, given that I think he's 35, 36 years old, and the team is supposed to be rebuilding right now. So they also have Paul DeYoung on their roster too.
He's playing most days.
Yeah, and the thing is, you can be in a rebuild. That doesn't mean you have to throw 20-year-olds out there every day and struggle.
Right.
Yeah, let him be out in there as a clubhouse leader until the trade deadline in July. Work his way onto yet another contending team and another postseason appearance. I think that's probably Tommy Pham, the way he looked at it.
And Tommy's going to hit, you know that. So, the White Sox, they're a real mess. But there are no guarantees, as we know. If you don't, it could be 3 straight 1-0 games.
I'll bring this question up tomorrow, Rammer. Give you 24 hours to think about it. What kind of ovation will Paul DeYoung get at Busch Stadium tomorrow?
I think he'll get a nice round of applause. Good guy.
Video package?
I don't know how the Cardinals think. I don't go to enough games to get a feel for how and when they do those kinds of things. It doesn't strike me as such, but, you might need some smoke and mirrors to keep the fans calm. And so maybe you get them to look at that instead of what you're trotting out there 1 through 9.
We will be back with you tomorrow on another edition of Daily Cards Live to look at the 3-game weekend series between the White Sox and the Cardinals here in St. Louis. But until then, we sign off today by letting you know, once again, we are brought to you by the friends at Munganast St. Louis Acura and also Rammer Royal Banks.
Royal Banks of Missouri, all over the area, St. Louis, East Side, St. Charles County, and 3 newer locations in Northeast Missouri. And the agricultural lenders at Royal Banks of Missouri know that you're out there. And in these tough times, it's important to have the best financial opportunities available to you, and Royal Banks makes that happen. 314-212-1500, Royal Banks, where better service means better banking.
He's Bob Ramsey. I'm Joe Roderick. Talk to you tomorrow right here on Daily Cards Live.
Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Munganast with Munganast St. Louis Acura, here to talk to you today about some benefits of Acura's certified pre-owned program. After passing a 182-point multi-point inspection, Acura backs all of our certified pre-owned cars with a 6-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty and a 7-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Munganast St. Louis Acura has new inventory arriving daily. Come on into Munganast St. Louis Acura today, meet our award-winning team, and find that perfect certified pre-owned Acura for you.